Hey y'all, it's Ale, and this is gonna be my first YouTube video that I'm publishing up. I'm so excited, so I'm gonna get straight to it. I have a podcast, it's called Relate with Ale, and I publish on Spotify and on Apple. Now I definitely want to get into the YouTube world and talk about relationships. I have an email address where I would love for you to share any questions, comments, stories, tea, whatever the case may be. So I can just debrief on them and just give out some advice. And then, of course, share a couple of my own experiences too. So I'll leave the email address in the comments, in the video, wherever I think it'll fit best. So I created my podcast because I wanted to share my story of how I felt after being in a really long-term relationship with someone, and I felt like it was so reasonable to share because now I know and realize that a lot of people have relationship trials and errors, so I thought, why not share the word, and hopefully it helps or has helped other people too. What I want to get into and start practicing is when I receive those questions, comments, stories, tea, is going over each of them and then debriefing on them. So today I have a couple of questions that I came up with based off of conversations that I've had with women and men, and just kind of like go over them and dissect them a little bit. So this first question is, should I worry that he hasn't texted me right away versus within 3 days? Look, I would say that if he hasn't texted you right away, you shouldn't worry too much about it. And I say that because you really don't know a person's schedule or life, and if you're really trying to get to know the person, patience is going to be required for sure. Versus 3 days or like 5 days, whatever. That is a little more questionable. Okay, and I like to give people the benefit of the doubt because it's like, what if they're thinking about the text, but they're thinking about what they should, how they should respond, and I'm guilty of being somebody like that, where I don't text or call back. First of all, I like texting, but I'm not much of a caller, so yeah. Yeah, so I wouldn't like text within like a week. Yeah. Because I'm thinking about what to say. Like, should I say this or should I say that? Like, do I really like this person? Like, all these thoughts are coming to my head, type of thing. So I would say no. Be patient. Don't take things too personally. Because they could be in Africa on an expedition. Like, they could be at a bar with their friend. They could be working. They could be taking care of a loved one. Like, it really could get that deep into the weeds. So yeah, just don't take it personal. I'm gonna try to get better at texting back though. Like, it's not even with just people I'm dating, it's also with friends. And I'm sorry. Okay. This next question. He said he's not ready for a relationship. What do I do? There are two ways to look at this. Believe what he says, okay? Believe it. I learned the hard way. Well, not necessarily the hard way. Let me dissect that a little bit. I say believe what he says because it leaves less room for disappointment, and also like you'll get less hurt in the end. And I just like getting straight to the point. Like, I'm very like, tell me directly so that way I can move accordingly type of thing. And I think that's super important for women to start realizing. Otherwise, you're gonna be waiting for a long time, boo, and like, it's not worth it. And what was the question again? He said he's not ready for a relationship. Okay. Another way to look at this is sometimes words can be very wishy-washy, and that's just the human nature of things, where somebody can say that one day, and then the more maybe they start to realize like they like you, it could change over time. So I think it's more so dependent of whether you think you want to sit around and wait for that person. And I don't mean to say that in a negative way, because you could really just casually date somebody and then realize like, okay, like I think this could lead somewhere. But I guess it just depends like where you're at mentally. Ooh, yeah, we could dissect this all day. For me, I realized like cutting people off immediately is not always the best and fair thing, unless you do me dirty, which, first of all, there was one time I was on a date and this guy got really drunk and he left me at a bar. And there were people, like, there was this couple on my right side and then this one guy just, like, drinking alone. And then they're like, the guy on the left, he's like, I'm sorry to, like, you're going through that. Because he got up and he left. After we got, like, all these drinks. Anyway, he was going through something, but that doesn't justify the act of him leaving. Like, that's just insane to me. So, anyway, the guy on the left, like, he was really, like, empathetic, and he was watching around because the guy kept circling back to, like, come back, and then he would leave. Like, it was weird. I don't know. Anyway, I'm glad I never have to go through that experience again. I told him never to contact me again. Okay. The next question. He left me for another girl he had interest in, and now he's crawling back and wants to work things out. What do I do? Okay, so I'm gonna give you a little tea time with my experience. So I was dating this guy for a very long time, and I soon like started to pick up his behavior. He was a little more like distant. He was a little more like not paying attention to our conversations, kind of like zoned out. Like his mind was just somewhere else, right? And so I just took note. And he was doing one of these like where I don't know, like he would be laughing on the phone, and then he would be like, oh, my friends just said something funny to me. I'm like, bro, alright. I mean, at the time I was like, oh, okay, but now I'm like, bro. And he would like face his phone down, and that was just like odd behavior because he never used to do that. And then I saw a notification go off on his phone. He got a new follower on Instagram, and it was a name that I was like familiar with because I kept hearing it from him and his friend group. And I was like, okay. And then I started realizing like I wasn't invited to things anymore, like the hangouts, whatever. I crashed out one time just because I needed to find out. Okay. Anyway, he then started dating her for like 1 to 2 months, and within that time frame, I like moved into my place. I was gonna go to bed. Before I go on, like, anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. I was just finding my inner peace to go to bed, basically. And he texted me. He's like, hey, can we talk? And then I said, hey, are you okay? Because that's the type of person I am. I care for my people, even if you do me dirty, whatever. So he said, I think I made a mistake, dot, dot, dot. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, no duh. And I said, okay, what do you mean? And he called me, and I'm very familiar with like where he lives and how things operated in the house. Again, we dated for a really long time. So I heard the sliding door. He went in the backyard, and then I heard like a female's voice in the back. She was like, "Are you coming back in?" He was like, "Yeah, I'll be there soon." And then she closed the door, he or she, and I just thought to myself, like, Alan, you don't deserve this any longer. So I told him straight to the point, because that's how I like it. Yeah, you doing this is a reflection of how you treated me in our relationship together, and I'm just not having it anymore. I said, I can't believe I said this. I said, you should not be treating her like this, because it took a lot of in me, because I really like that person. Although it was a good thing to say, because she deserved good too. I'm not gonna leave a girl high and dry, or like talk down on her name. I think that's just disrespectful. So I said, yeah, you should not be treating her like this. It's too early in your relationship anyway. Like, if you realize you messed up, then maybe you need some time to do some reflecting and like deal with it on your own, because I'm not gonna be here coddling you, saying it's okay, and like rubbing your head at the end of the night. You know what I mean? So yeah, that kind of like ended, like really ended like our relationship, no contact. And I'm so proud of myself for doing that. So that's like my little take on how I feel about situations like that, where he leaves you, like the situation of he'll leave you for another girl. No girl should experience that. And do I wish that I had the opportunity to tell her what happened that night? Absolutely. But I was not ever close with her, and I could tell she didn't want anything to do with me. I think she knew of the fact, like, who I was already. And that's how it's gonna remain. And that was meant for them and meant for me. Keep the peace. Okay. The next question is, how can I really trust a guy? This is a difficult one. I don't really trust anyone to begin with. I know that sounds bad, but I don't really care, because I've been hurt before, I've been manipulated towards, and I don't want to play that game anymore. I think that a person will really tell you who they are by you just listening, sitting back, like observing them, listening to words that they say. I'm hungry. Listening to words that they say, how they treat people, how they treat like their mothers, their father, their nieces, their nephews, the waiter, the hostess, people in general, and how they treat themselves too. Do they respect their time? Are they really good at communication? And sometimes for people it's different. Like, there are people who prefer actions more so than words, or people who prefer the words more so than actions. So I think you really just have to find out what you're comfortable with, or what you like best. I realized that I definitely like actions more so than words. Words are important, I think that when they're really necessary, like when a girl's had enough. But not to the point where you explode. Let's keep it cute out here. We're not gonna explode, okay? Your energy's not worth giving up like that. Yeah. I like the saying too that I grew up with. It's in Spanish. It's dime con quién andas y te digo quién eres, which just means tell me who you're hanging out with and I'll tell you who you are. I was like, damn, that's tough. Like, that is a tough one. Like, yes. So I like to look at the world like that. In that perspective, it really helps. Okay. The next question is, what type of guys are considered safe? I think this ties with the previous one, but I can tie it also with experiences that I've had while dating. I've been single for like 3 years now, and it's been a trip. So, guys that I feel safe around, men I trust, like that song. Show me how you care. Ooh, yeah, I like to see how men care. I'm just thinking of this one guy in particular, where we locked eyes. I was like, you know that look, ladies. I was like, damn, who's I? Okay, cut. Okay, let me get back to the story. So, anyway, we started going on dates, okay? And we went on like a coffee date. We went to get some like food. Oh, we went to Dave and Buster's. Yeah, it was a good time. Great times, great memories. But I think like the first time we ever met, it was like we walked around like his area, city, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going upstairs because you could have me in a body bag. And he looked at me like in surprise, but like not like a what the hell, you know. And I think he respected that. So like, yeah, over time, the consistency and him just being nice and like following up, like, hey, are we gonna hang out, like that type of thing. I think that's where I was able to like trust him over time. But take note, ladies, find out what you like and what you don't like. So I'm gonna end it here. I really would love to hear your voice, your thoughts, your voices and thoughts. So send me your stories, any questions you want like dissected about relationships, dating, tea, or just like fun stories to share, so I can be like, oh my god, so you can see like a reaction. This is tea. So I will leave my email link, email me below. Yeah, I really enjoyed talking with y'all. And I'm gonna try to, upload like hopefully once a week, if not once every 2 weeks. So love y'all. Bye.